This is my in-depth review for the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL. I think Google created such an amazing phone, but they couldn't nail the camera as I expected, with a lot of long-term disappointments that should have been already fixed a long time ago, but unfortunately it's not the case. I will talk more about them later in the video, so let's jump into the 9 Pro XL in-depth review, and I will start with the design and build quality. So take a look at these three phones. If the 8 Pro is the father and the 15 Pro Max is the mother, the 9 Pro XL took its father's eyes and its mother's body. So the Pixel identity is still there, with the design leaning more towards elegance. Even the color choices this year give the same vibes rather than the flashy bay blue and mint green of last year. Plus, the flat sides of the new design give more grip while holding or lifting the phone from your desk, unlike the slippery curvy sides of the Pixel 8 Pro. That's only important if you are planning to use it without a case. But this design makes the 9 Pro XL feel bulkier in your pocket and your hands, especially with the case on, because of the flat sides and sharp edges. So you will lose some of the 8 Pro comfort. Moving to the side rails, it's an exact copy from the 15 Pro Max. Even the antenna lines are positioned the same way. The glossy finish of the 9 Pro XL makes the phone stand out, unlike the muted look of the iPhone's matte finish, but if you have sweaty hands, the iPhone's matte finish makes it feel less greasy and more grippy than the Pixel. But what the iPhone is certainly better at is the buttons. The Pixel gives a noisy clicking sound, unlike the premium feel of the iPhone, so let's take a listen. And for some reason the cutouts are bigger than the actual buttons, so they are loose and make noise when you push them up or down. I'm seriously worried that one day they will fall off. Even the 8 Pro buttons feel more premium and solid than this. The only good thing about them is the wider form factor, so they are more comfortable to press. Moving to the camera bar, I don't only love the way it looks, but it's the most practical hands down. When compared to previous Pixels, it has less metal around the cameras, so I no longer need to worry about the micro scratches I used to get in the camera bar of the 7 Pro and the 8 Pro models. Secondly, the rest of it has a matte finish which is better in resisting scratches over time. Third, it's much easier to clean as you get more space around it to easily push your cleaning cloth. Even easier than the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra that have small gaps between the lenses that makes it a nightmare to clean, which is something I do every time I shoot a video. Plus, the wobble-free experience we got used to with Pixel phones is still here. The back glass texture feels about the same as the 15 Pro Max, but a tiny bit softer. But it's not as soft as the 8 Pro, so it's somewhere in between. The back and the front are made of Gorilla Glass Victus 2, unlike the Gorilla Glass armor of the S24 Ultra, which is a bit disappointing, not only because it's more durable, but also the anti-reflective surface of the Gorilla Glass armor was one of the best features of the S24 Ultra, as it makes it a lot easier to see under direct sunlight or in areas with a lot of light sources, so I hope Google will stop the habit of using dated technologies in some areas. But my list of cons doesn't end here. My biggest disappointment by far is the loudspeaker and SIM tray placement. This time they copied Samsung. So the loudspeaker is on the left instead of the right, and the SIM tray hole is next to the microphone cutout, which means when I watch videos in landscape mode and rotate the phone the same way as always, I cover the loudspeaker. So I have to rest my hand somewhere else or rotate the phone in the other direction. Secondly, I accidentally insert the SIM eject tool in the microphone cutout, which is something every Samsung owner complains about, and Google decided for some reason to do the same. The third issue is the selfie camera is now pushed further down, so it's not perfectly aligned with the status bar icons like the previous models, which I'm sure will annoy some people, including myself, and I'm trying to ignore it as much as I can. But it's not all bad though. Thankfully, this year they positioned the proximity sensor properly, unlike the 8 Pro. In this side-by-side comparison, you will see that I can cover the right half of the 8 Pro display without triggering the sensor, as it's placed on the other side. So I cannot tell you how many times I accidentally touch the display with my ears while on phone calls. While on the 9 Pro XL, it's centered and works 100% of the time, no matter where I place it on my ears. Looking at the front, you will also see even bezels across all sides, unlike the 8 Pro that has a slightly bigger chin, plus they are slimmer too. They are not as slim as the 15 Pro Max, but not far behind. I also like the corners curvature as it looks more modern when compared to the 8 Pro and much better than the S24 Ultra boxy look. It's just my personal preference, so it depends on your personal taste, but I'm sure iOS users who consider switching will like this new change. And finally, here is a side-by-side comparison to see the difference in dimensions. It's the tallest across the board, but it shares about the same width of the 15 Pro Max and the 8 Pro, while the S24 Ultra being the widest. When it comes to the thickness, the iPhone is the thinnest, followed by the 9 Pro XL, then the Galaxy, and the 8 Pro comes last. When it comes to the weight, again, it's the same as the iPhone, which is 10 grams lighter than the Galaxy, but 8 grams heavier than the 8 Pro. So here's my final thoughts about the design and build quality. If I'm gonna talk about the look and feel only, I will give it 9 out of 10, but for the practicality, it gets 7 out of 10, and here is why. The speaker, the SIM tray, and the front camera placements are not good, with a noticeable impact on the overall experience. They used the dated Gorilla Glass Victus 2 instead of Armor, and the buttons have below average build quality. Yes, Google improved few things like the even and the slimmer bezels, the better proximity sensor placement, and the camera visor durability, but these are just common sense and already expected to happen with every new model. And now let's move on to the display, and this new panel is just impressive. The first thing that grabbed my attention is the coating. The glass feels surprisingly smooth and my finger flies over the display, which is the best I've ever seen, but unfortunately putting a screen protector will immediately take this experience away. Talking about the panel, it has a size of 6.8 inches, which is slightly bigger than the 6.7 inches of the 8 Pro. Thanks to the slimmer bezels that also gives a slightly better screen-to-body ratio, the resolution is the same as last year, which is behind the S24 Ultra but better than the 15 Pro Max, and the same 120Hz refresh rate as always. The major difference here is in the brightness. The 9 Pro XL is the highest across the board, reaching up to 3000 nits peak and 2000 nits for HDR content. Here's a side-by-side comparison under direct sunlight to see the difference. By the end of October last year, I tested the 8 Pro brightness sustainability under direct sunlight and it was the best. This year Google released the phone earlier, plus I got it earlier than expected, so we are in August and the temperature here could kill me if I did the same test again, so I'm sorry to skip it this time, but let's take a look at my heavy workload test as an example. You will see here that the 9 Pro XL shares the same characteristics of its predecessor and it maintained the highest brightness across the board under heavy usage to beat the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra in this matter. So you are not only getting higher brightness but also for a longer time. The colors reproduction of the 9 Pro XL panel is also different. It looks almost the same as the 15 Pro Max. You will notice here that both have the warmest white balance. The 8 Pro is cooler, while the S24 Ultra is the coolest with the most accurate white color. And by the way, adaptive color tone and the true tone are switched off on the Galaxy and the iPhone respectively. When it comes to the PWM dimming, which is how fast the display flicker and the faster the better for your eyes, the 9 Pro XL is better than the 8 Pro, but the S24 Ultra is still the best and the 15 Pro Max is somewhere in between. I couldn't find the actual numbers for the 9 Pro XL, so please let me know in the comments if you got your hands on this information. One more thing worth noting is the 9 Pro XL has a new feature under the display settings called Adaptive Touch, which doesn't only enhance the touch sensitivity when using the screen protector, but also based on the environment and activities. As per Meshar Rahman, now it works better with wet hands, and from my testing I can confirm the same, as you can see in this side-by-side comparison with the Pixel 8 Pro. So overall, the display of the 9 Pro XL is impressive. I only hoped for a better front camera placement and the Gorilla Glass armor as I mentioned in the design chapter, but other than this, I love the display. Next, the performance. I started to hate the idea that Google advertised their phones as not meant for heavy usage, and it's all about AI and ambient computing, because even if that's the main focus, we still need more horsepower. Why not? Thankfully, this year I got impressive results in my heavy workload test. The 9 Pro XL was able to finish 30 minutes of gaming in addition to playing a 2160p video in picture-in-picture view, a Microsoft Teams meeting with the screen sharing on, and Google Maps navigation all at the same time. The S24 Ultra couldn't handle this and gave a thermal warning after 40 minutes and 45 seconds. The 15 Pro Max was a bit laggy and had the darkest display to control the thermals, while the 9 Pro XL was relatively smoother with a brighter display. When you compare this to the 8 Pro, it was able to finish the same test when it was brand new back in October 2023, but with a lot worse graphics and FPS. That means that the 9 Pro XL has the highest tolerance when compared to the competition, but to be fair, this use case is not common and users usually do one or two things at a time. So let's try a basic app launching speed test to see the difference, and I will start with a quick comparison with the S24 Ultra.
I can hear the demons call when they do what they do, and now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up all my walls cause I'm not in the mood, but then I cut myself off from the rest of the room. I know that time can heal it all if you're patient and soon it can all be worth it, all the searching. Pain is never really permanent, but damn it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy. I need some silence, please, you're all too loud. You don't speak quietly, opinions violently thrown across every surface. It makes me nervous, it's the world honestly burning. That's all I'm learning, hope that we can make a turn and start reversing. All our minds and put the work in, we got some work, man.
The S24 Ultra is literally fraction of a second faster in opening apps, and the RAM management is exactly the same. Both phones kept all apps running in the background, so I don't think this half a second makes any difference in daily usage. And let's do the same with the 15 Pro Max.
I just gotta get through, cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Gotta get through this, life is a nuisance, tie up some loose ends. I try to be human, find a solution, my evolution. A place like this, it didn't exist, we made it like this. So you can go pick the bad or the good, got a glass halfway. I know, it's easier to hide than just to lay low. Not everyone in life has got a halo. I'm standing in the red inside a payphone. Just wanna break, no, I'm not gonna give in. Take a last shot, Michael J. Win. No, I'm not a robot, I'm in my own skin. Never get lost when thoughts pull you in. I miss the old you, we died with a purpose. All the energy around me felt nervous, scared I would pop out fast to the surface. Had to cut it off before you made me worthless. Torn apart, I've been torn and scarred. I had a given art, but now I'm thinking smart. I'm keeping up my guard, I'm hiding every card. A royal flush of bluff, you never know what's hard. With a back to the mat, gonna see where I'm at. I'ma fight like I'm mad, I'ma be something that they can never be me. Nice try, but they'll see I achieve everything while they stay salty.
The Pixel was faster in launching some apps, while the iPhone was about 2 seconds faster in loading games. So again, you are not missing a lot when it comes to the 9 Pro XL performance or thermal management. Plus, this year we are getting 16GB of RAM instead of 12, which is a lot. Next, the battery. I also did a battery test and I was able to get 7 hours and 45 minutes of screen on time on cellular data only, which is more than enough to get me through the day. You will see the video link in the description to know more. But in a nutshell, I used Microsoft Teams, Temple Run 2, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp for texting and sending photos and videos. Let me also show you an example from my real-life usage. I got 7 hours and 45 minutes, unplugged the phone from the charger at 8 AM to reach 5% by 4:38 AM, which is 20 hours of usage. And here's a quick look at the apps. I used both Wi-Fi and cellular data. The display is set to the maximum resolution. The 120Hz refresh rate is activated, and my phone is always set to light theme, except for the last 20% when the phone activated the battery saving mode that also activates dark theme. When it comes to the charging speed, it's not the fastest. On paper, wired charging goes up to 37 watts, which is 7 watts more than the 8 Pro. In contrast, the wireless charging speed didn't change. They are the same 12 watts with the Qi chargers and 23 watts with the Pixel stand. Beside the numbers, I was able to charge it from 17% to 100 in 1 hour and 9 minutes, which is an example for what to expect. So overall, the battery life is one of the strengths of the 9 Pro XL, but I'm sure a lot of people hoped for faster charging speeds, which is nice to have, but for me it's not a showstopper. Next, the speakers. They sound a lot different than the previous models, and for some reason Google removed the adaptive sound feature from the 9 Pro settings. It sounds the same as the iPhone in terms of tuning, which gives it a heavier bass. But unfortunately, it's no way near the 15 Pro Max in terms of loudness, but it sounds better than the 8 Pro and the S24 Ultra in my opinion, so let's take a listen. Let me also tell you that the speakers were a bit distorted at first, but it improved a lot over time. So overall the speakers are good, but I hoped for more volume. Now it's time to talk about the camera. Of course we have a lot of improvements over the 8 Pro, which I'm really happy with, but honestly the number of issues are not small either, which didn't allow me to get the great experience I hoped for. So let's start with the portraits. As always, the most annoying thing about the Pixel camera is the poor subject isolation. Since the Pixel 6 till now, Google didn't figure out a way to solve this issue. They know how to perfectly isolate the subject and generate a whole different background using Magic Editor, but for some reason when I take a portrait with the 9 Pro XL in 2024, it blurs my glasses, it cuts my ears and hair, no matter if it's day or night, it keeps doing the same over and over again. So let's do some side-by-side comparisons. In this example, at 1.5x, the 9 Pro XL has a better overall look with less over-sharpening when compared to the 8 Pro. But still the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra are the best, with more natural blur effect and of course better subject isolation. At 2x, the 9 Pro XL is a lot better than the 8 Pro in colors and skin tone, but look at the subject isolation and the blur effect intensity, which are far from realistic. So it has better processing for the subject, but with the same issues we always had. Not to mention that the 5x portraits are still not available. But there is a noticeable improvement in colors when compared to the previous model, and I think it's better than the competition too. So I really hope to see a 5x portrait mode instead of applying the blur effect in post. At night, beside the subject isolation issues, both Pixels produced the highest quality photos with the least noise and best details, but the 9 Pro XL tends to saturate the colors a bit and lean towards a warmer white balance, while the 8 Pro is the opposite. At 2x, the 9 Pro XL remained consistent in terms of colors, while the 8 Pro changed the white balance to be even cooler. The 9 Pro XL is also the best in rendering my face with the least over-sharpening, less noise and best details. The 15 Pro Max gave me a soft and blurry face. The 8 Pro was a bit over-sharpened, while the Galaxy went too far with the sharpening. So overall in portraits, if Google nailed the subject isolation and tuned down the blur effect combined with the improvements I showed you, I'm sure the 9 Pro XL will crush the competition. But I lost hope as we have those two issues for many years, and I'm not sure when Google will end this dilemma. I also spotted some optimization issues here and there. The first one is in videos. This is a 20x night video recorded with Video Boost, which is presumably should give better zoom quality, but as you see all other phones doing much better, including the 8 Pro. So obviously there is a problem here which I hope Google will solve as soon as possible. The second one is the blurry photos coming out of the telephoto lens when compared to the 8 Pro regardless the resolution. I tried many times, but unfortunately it doesn't get any better. At night, the ultra-wide lens captures overexposed photos with the halo effect. It's better than its predecessor, but still not great. The 15 Pro Max's shot is good, but a bit darker than what it should be, while the S24 Ultra got it right. That's exactly the photo I wish the 9 Pro XL took. And this is not just a single photo. I saw the same trend over and over again with multiple night photos taken with the ultra-wide, and this issue is new to me as I didn't face it in my previous 8 Pro camera comparisons except recently. All these photos and videos were taken with the stable version of Android 14, so I really hope the delayed Android 15 will solve these problems. On top of this, some of the features I expected to improve this year are exactly the same, like the blur videos, also known as cinematic or portrait videos, are still limited to 1080p with no front camera support. In comparison, Apple and Samsung offer 4K resolution and front camera support for few years now. The active stabilization mode is still limited to 1080p, same as before, unlike the 2.5 and 2.8K resolutions offered by Samsung and Apple respectively. Video boost is still not available for the front camera or ultra-wide. And finally, slow motion videos are also in full HD. I expected Google to increase the resolution or allow us to convert any video to a slow-mo by tapping and holding on the viewfinder, same as the S24 Ultra, but we got zero improvements this year. So that was my long list of disappointments. Now let's talk about what improved. Both the ultra-wide and the selfie cameras got some nice additions. Starting with the ultra-wide, now it has a wider field of view than last year, to be the widest in this comparison. I'm not sure why GSM Arena says that the 8 Pro lens is wider, but this is not what's happening here. The second improvement is the wider aperture of 1.7 versus 2.0 in last year's model. When it comes to the front camera, I thought at first it's a minor improvement, but in some situations there is a big difference in the level of detail to be as good as the 15 Pro Max thanks to the new 42 megapixel sensor, but not as detailed as the S24 Ultra, which is always the best in this matter. Google also improved the colors to be more saturated so the photos don't look as dull as before, and here's another example at night to see the difference in colors. Additionally, it has a wider field of view to be the widest front camera ever in a pixel, which is also wider than the competition. Talking about the lens switching in videos, there is a massive improvement over the 8 Pro. It's still a bit behind the 15 Pro Max, but with Video Boost it gives the best lens switching you could possibly get on any smartphone. Moving to the panorama with night sight, it produces detailed photos with the ability to force night sight at all time, which might improve the quality of morning photos as well. And in this side-by-side comparison, you can see how impressive are the results coming out of this feature when compared to the competition. I'm also happy to report that the photos quality in social media apps improved in many ways except for one specific scenario, so let me show you some examples. Starting with an indoor selfie in the morning, you will see better colors, skin tone and the details when compared to the 8 Pro. I don't know why the 15 Pro Max made my face look that bad and the S24 Ultra blown out the whole shot. I do prefer the overall look coming out of the 9 Pro XL the most, but still the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra offer the highest level of detail even after the improvement. Moving to a morning shot, that's when the pixels always mute the colors way too much, which is weird as phones usually perform better with more light. In this one, the 15 Pro Max is the best in details and colors, followed by the S24 Ultra, then the 9 Pro XL. Here's another selfie, but this time it's outdoors and the same issue, muted colors from both pixels. In contrast, the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra tried to make the photo as pleasing as possible by turning up the colors and the brightness way too much. Honestly, I don't like any of them, but I'm sure the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra shots are definitely the go-to for most people with the same ranking in details as the previous shot. Moving to night photos, that's when Pixel phones don't have any problem with the colors as they look very similar to the competition. When it comes to the details, there is a massive difference between the pixels in favor of the 9 Pro XL, but with a lot of noise. In contrast, the 15 Pro Max tried to balance between both, resulting in a less detailed but cleaner image, while the S24 Ultra did an impressive job producing the highest level of detail and least amount of noise, so it's definitely the winner here. The next one is a night selfie, and the 9 Pro XL crushed the competition. It produced the highest level of detail, best colors, and the least amount of noise. The second best is the S24 Ultra, followed by the 15 Pro Max, and the 8 Pro comes last. In Snapchat, you will see the same colors reproduction as Instagram, so the points I mentioned still apply here, but on iOS it only captures 2 megapixel photos, while on Android it's 5 megapixels. So on Android you will always get better details, with the edge going to the 9 Pro XL over its predecessor as shown in these examples. So overall the 9 Pro XL is a lot better than the 8 Pro and it competes strongly in night photos, but I hope it captures better colors in morning photos too. These are all the points I wanted to mention about the photos, and now let's talk about the videos. I will start with the normal 4K 30 videos without video boost, and the first lens is the ultra wide. The main points worth noting are the 9 Pro XL and the iPhone have the warmest white balance. Sometimes the iPhone is the warmest, sometimes the 9 Pro, depending on the lighting conditions, which is different from its predecessor's cooler white balance. The iPhone has the most vibrant reds and the S24 Ultra has the most bluish sky. In the details, the 15 Pro Max is the best, followed by the 9 Pro XL and the S24 Ultra, which are almost identical, while the 8 Pro comes last. HDR-wise, the 9 Pro XL and the 8 Pro kept things under control, as I can see a lot more in the highlights, with the edge going to the newer model for showing more details, while the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra blown out the highlights at first and took more time to adapt. In the stabilization, there isn't a clear winner as all of them did well. Moving to the main camera, I see the same differences in the colors reproduction and the level of detail, but the 8 Pro was noticeably worse this time. The S24 Ultra and the 15 Pro Max have the best stabilization, followed by the 9 Pro XL, and the 8 Pro was the worst. And the HDR performance is exactly the same as the ultra-wide lens. But what's different here is the amount of stutter in the 9 Pro XL video while panning. It's a very annoying issue and I don't see it in the 8 Pro video, so I don't think it has anything to do with the file format. I lost count of the number of issues that Google need to fix in this camera. Moving to the telephoto, right off the bat there is something wrong with the 8 Pro. I've never seen it that bad in recording 5x videos, but based on what I have, the 9 Pro XL is certainly much better. But the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra offer the best details and stabilization, while the 9 Pro XL still suffer from the same annoying stuttering we saw in the main camera. Lastly, the front camera before jumping to night videos. And here I found massive improvements. The 9 Pro XL doesn't only offer the widest field of view, but it has the best HDR and the colors, so let me pause the video to show you why. Look at how all phones messed up my black t-shirt color except the 9 Pro XL. Not only this, but my skin tone remained consistent throughout the whole video, plus it had the most stable exposure and the HDR performance while rotating the camera in all directions. The selfie camera is just a great addition this year, either for photos or videos, and now let's try the night videos. Starting with the ultra-wide, surprisingly, the videos coming out of the Pixel phones just look impressive. It seems like Google finally did something here. The colors, the contrast, and the ISO are on point with no noise whatsoever. Even the 15 Pro Max is nowhere near with visible noise in the sky, and the S24 Ultra messed up the colors with even more noise than the iPhone. Secondly, the stabilization of the 9 Pro XL is a lot better than the 8 Pro, and it's the best across the board with the least amount of lens flares too. So overall, the 9 Pro XL produced the best ultra-wide video, followed by the 8 Pro, then the 15 Pro Max, and the S24 Ultra comes last. Moving to the main camera, the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra are much better now, but still the colors and the contrast coming out of the pixels are better. The 8 Pro started to show some noise in the sky, while the 9 Pro XL is just perfect. Even the 15 Pro Max and the S24 Ultra couldn't handle the bright lights and noise as beautifully as the 9 Pro XL. You will also notice the warmer white balance of the 9 Pro XL when compared to its predecessor. The stabilization this time goes to the S24 Ultra, followed by the 15 Pro Max, then the 9 Pro XL, and the 8 Pro is the worst. And here's another example to show you how the HDR of the 9 Pro XL is unmatched. Just look at the sign and how it managed to handle it, which crushes any other phone in this comparison. At night, the 9 Pro XL telephoto is much worse than the other two lenses, plus it had the worst stabilization across the board with a lot of stuttering while panning, which ruined the whole video. The S24 Ultra was the best here, followed by the 15 Pro Max, then the 8 Pro, and the 9 Pro XL comes last. Finally, the front camera. The 15 Pro Max has the best HDR and stabilization with the least amount of noise. It was the darkest, but it deserves the first spot as it looks the most natural. The 9 Pro XL comes second for its noticeable grain, but the level of detail and the colors are good with the widest field of view, and overall the quality is a lot better than the 8 Pro, which suffered from the highest level of noise and worst stabilization. The S24 Ultra messed up the colors, plus the field of view was not great, but it offered the second best stabilization after the 15 Pro Max. So overall, the 9 Pro XL delivers unmatched video performance at night using the ultra-wide and main cameras. The morning videos using the same two lenses are closer than ever to the iPhone and the S24 Ultra in terms of quality, but the only issue is the weird stutter that sometimes occur while panning. The telephoto performance was not good day and night, especially in the stabilization, but we still didn't use video boost, so let's give it a try. The 9 Pro XL can now use video boost with the main and the telephoto lenses, which is better than the 8 Pro that only supports the main camera, plus it can record up to 8K at 30 frames per second, so I have all phones set to their maximum resolutions. The Galaxy and the 9 Pro XL are set to 8K, the 8 Pro is set to 4K video boost, and 4K on the iPhone. I prefer the colors and the warmer white balance coming out of the 9 Pro XL over the 8 Pro, plus the stabilization is a bit better too. And as expected, video boost produces a lot brighter videos. Sometimes I like it a lot, while other times I prefer to see more contrast. There is a difference in the level of detail between the 4K and the 8K, which you will only see when you crop in 2 times or more, but just watching them side by side, the difference is not massive. I have to give the credit to the S24 Ultra for achieving this level of quality without touching the cloud. Moving to the telephoto, only the 9 Pro XL can use video boost and you will see the same overall look as the main camera. I wasn't able to keep all of them in place while walking, but certainly the 9 Pro XL was the best in keeping the video as stable as possible, followed by the 15 Pro Max, then the S24 Ultra, and the 8 Pro was a complete mess. This will take us to the new zoom capabilities of Video Boost, which can go up to 20x in 4K resolution. And here's a quick sample. I started at 10x and then zoomed all the way into 20x, except for the 15 Pro Max that can only reach 15. The 9 Pro XL delivered impressive results. It feels like the phone is mounted on a tripod, even though all phones are handheld. And you can see how much worse the 8 Pro in comparison. Moving to the night videos, the 8 Pro and the 9 Pro XL were already impressive, so video boost didn't make a big difference, but it helped the 8 Pro get rid of the noise. The S24 Ultra still leading the stabilization, but with video boost, the 9 Pro XL was slightly better than the 15 Pro Max, which comes third, and the 8 Pro is the worst. Moving to the telephoto at night, video boost did help the 9 Pro XL significantly in the stabilization and removed the stutter we saw before, so it delivered the best results in everything, including the HDR and colors. And lastly, the zoomed videos at night. As I mentioned before, the 9 Pro XL seems to have a software issue here, but based on what we got, the S24 Ultra delivered the best results, followed by the 8 Pro, then the 15 Pro Max, and the 9 Pro XL messed up the whole thing. Beside this issue, Video Boost didn't do as much at night in comparison to morning videos. It mainly helped in the stabilization more than anything else, as Google already improved the night videos quality in terms of colors, HDR, and noise, which is something I didn't notice up until this moment. Now let's end this chapter by talking about the AI features. The video is already long enough to talk about them in detail, plus I created 2 separate videos covering all of them that you will find their links in the description. But briefly, Magic Editor, Reimagine, and Reframe are my favorite. I found them to be very useful in my day-to-day usage. For example, I used it to improve my resume photo by changing the background to something else, and sometimes I do the same for my friends. When it comes to autoframe, it did help me enhance some of my old photos, which is nice. Add Me is my second favorite and it works surprisingly well, but I didn't find myself using it that much. I think it will be more useful while traveling, as that's when this use case occurs more frequently. Lastly, Zoom Enhance. I found it to work the best with buildings, but because it adds a lot of over-sharpening, it doesn't look good in some scenarios like human faces, for example, so I don't use it that much. So here's my final conclusion about the camera. Google improved a lot of things with the 9 Pro XL, but the list of issues is not small. And the most annoying ones are the poor subject isolation in portraits, the lack of 5x portraits, the blurry zoomed photos, and the stutter in videos while panning. I hope to see these issues addressed to be able to call it one of the best cameras in the market. Now let's talk about the software. I covered most of the AI features in the camera section, plus as I mentioned before, I have 2 separate videos going through all of them, and the links are in the description. But if I'm gonna choose my favorite features beside the camera ones, Gemini Live takes the first spot. I know it's not exclusive to the Pixel 9 and you can get it on any Android if you have the Gemini Advanced subscription, but still it was part of the Pixel 9 event, plus the Pixel 9 owners will get a free subscription for 1 year. My second favorite is the Screenshots app. It's practical and saves a lot of time when you try to locate any of the previously taken screenshots thanks to the built-in search. It identifies products, provides links, and gives an easy way to copy text. But it's not 100% accurate, as sometimes it gets it completely wrong. But overall, the app is still useful and I'm sure it will improve over time. Talking about the Pixel Studio app, I think it's easy to use and the generated images have high quality, but I didn't see myself using it that much, at least for now. Plus, the editing features offered are very basic, like adding captions or some stickers. Maybe it will be useful for some, but not for me. Unfortunately, some of the Pixel 9 features are exclusive to certain countries like call notes and the satellite messaging, which I didn't get. So I won't be able to share my experience with them, at least for now. The only disappointment when it comes to the Pixel 9 software is it doesn't come with Android 15 out of the box as expected. The only way to try Android 15 now is by enrolling in the beta program, which is currently in beta 4.2. I already installed it on my phone and will let you know my experience in the future videos. Beside the features, the software experience is solid with no bugs or issues whatsoever. Since I got my hands on the device, it works flawlessly, so Google nailed the software department quite well, except for the delayed Android 15. The last thing I want to talk about is the quality of life features. Starting with the haptics, they feel slightly better than the 8 Pro. I'm not sure if it's because Google used a new haptic engine or the new phone structure plays a role, but either way, it's a tiny bit better. The fingerprint scanner is a massive improvement over the 8 Pro. It's super fast and it doesn't annoy you with a bright light to read your finger. But unfortunately, using a normal screen protector will make it unfunctional. I even tried to reset up my fingerprints after the installation, but it still doesn't work. So I hope to see the Pixel 4 Face ID making its way back to the Pixel lineup to avoid all this hassle. The thermometer is still here and honestly I'm not sure why. Google usually kills things, but for some reason they want to keep this one. So I will give the same advice I gave to Google last year. Please replace the thermometer with a LiDAR scanner to give us better subject isolation in portraits. Thank you in advance. So here's my final conclusion. The 9 Pro XL is an amazing phone, but I will only give it 7 out of 10, mainly because of the long-term camera issues they didn't fix and the bad decisions taken in the design department, like repositioning the speaker and SIM tray, pushing the selfie camera down, and using a dated Gorilla Glass. But if they at least fixed the camera issues in future updates, it will be worth 8.5 out of 10. But keep in mind that I compared it with the 15 Pro Max of last year and the iPhone 16 is just around the corner, which might change my opinion about the 9 Pro XL. I also wanted to mention that the base storage is still 128GB even though the phone costs $100 more. Most companies already offer 256GB as the base option, which I also expected to see. And for those who are planning to upgrade from a Pixel 8 Pro, I think you better wait until Google addresses the camera issues, plus last year's model is still good enough in 2024. But if you own a Pixel 7 or earlier, it's definitely worth the upgrade as it's miles ahead in pretty much everything. So that was my in-depth review of the 9 Pro XL. Please let me know in the comments what do you think. But for now, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.